Hi, welcome to the next video in my series of scratch guides. I hope you enjoyed the last one, hope you enjoyed following along. Same idea this time. I'm going to go through how to make a little project. You guys can pause, fast forward, rewind, whatever you like. In this one, we're going to make a little animation. I'm going to call it the Magic Octopus. So it's a little animation that uses lots and lots of variables. So it's a really interesting way to introduce variables into any Scratch projects you do. So first thing we're going to do, as always, I'm going to get rid of that cat. So I'm going to get rid of the cat. My dog barking in the background there. I'm going to add a sprite. So I'm going to click here. I'm going to go up here. I'm going to add the octopus. Now I love the octopus on Scratch because the costumes that it comes with are just fantastic. So let's click on that one. He looks a little bit boring in the background, so let's put him underwater. So let's add a backdrop. Let's type in underwater, and we've got underwater 1, underwater 2. I think underwater 1 fits our animation better. So let's click on that one. There he is. That looks great. So first job is I'm just going to make him move around. I just want him moving around the screen. It's not really important, but I just think it looks a little bit better. So let's get that one out of the way. So I'm going to add this block here. So when I click go, I want it to move. I want it to move forever. I want it to keep going. So I'm going to put forever. I'm going to go to motion. And instead of moving or turning or things like that, just to make life a lot easier for me, because I don't really care where he moves, I'm just going to go glide to random position. Now, the time in seconds there, that tells you how fast he's going to do it. So at the moment, he's doing it super, super quick. He's gliding around really fast. So if I change that to something like 4 seconds instead, he should slowly get there wherever he's going. Okay, so yeah, 4 seconds I think works really well. I was just about to get off the screen now, but it'll come back on in a minute. Let me press stop so that we can get started. Now, as always, I like to annotate what I'm doing, so I'm going to add a comment. Let me just zoom out slightly. So I'm going to add a little note that says movement blocks, so I know what they are if I need to look at that later on. Let me just grab that and move it a bit closer. There we go. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create some variables. I'm going to create 4 different variables. If I create all 4 at the same time, it's a little bit easier. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add them to our code as we go. So I'm going to go to variables. I'm going to make a variable. I'm going to make 4 different ones, like I said. So my first one that I'm going to do is called size. Press OK. You can see I've got that there. You can see size is displayed up there as well. Let me make the next one. It's going to be called invisible. Okay, invisible. Press OK. My next one is going to be called color. And then my last one is going to be called costume. I said I like the costume on the octopus, so we're going to make the most of it. So, costume. I'm going to move where I don't like them all in the same place. So I'm going to move them so I can grab and I can drag them. So I'm going to put one in each corner, like that. Nearly ready to go. So what we're going to do now is we're going to add some code to our sprite, and you can probably guess the idea. We're going to make it so that we can change the size of our octopus. We're going to make it so we can make him invisible. We can change the costume, and we can change the color of our octopus. And we're going to do those with something really cool. We're going to do them with a slider. So I'll show you that in a second. Let me move that up there out of the way because we don't need that now. So the code for this is quite tricky, quite simple. Just follow along and you should be able to work it out. So we're going to go for forever. Sorry, when I click go, I want to bring in a forever block. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to set or change different things. So let's do the size one first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring that one in there. I'm going to say set size to, and we're going to set it to whatever this variable called size is. Let me talk you through it in a second. So let me bring that variable in. So I'm going to go to size here. You'll see it's highlighted, so I can just drop that in there. Okay. And then over here where we've got size, I'm going to right click on it. I'm going to change it to a slider. And then I'm going to right click again. But this time I'm going to change the range that I can slide to. I'm going to change this one. Minimum value is going to be 0, but I'm going to change it so its top value is 300. Okay. And now, because I've set the size of my octopus to whatever this slider is set at, then it should change size. So if I grab on here, oh, I didn't press go. There we go. Okay. So when I grab the slider and change it, he'll change like, I mean, we can go right up to 300, but we can make him really, really super small as well at the same time. Okay, so that's the first one. And from that, you can kind of work out what I'm going to do with the rest of them as well. Let me just press stop. So for the invisible one, I'm going to go to looks again. Where it says change color effect, set color effect, I'm going to drag that one in. But instead of color, I'm going to change it to ghost. Okay, then back on variables, I'm going to bring in invisible. So I'm going to set the ghost effect to invisible, change that one to a slider. Let me just check the slider range. 0 to 100, perfect. That's just what we need it to be. And then I can press go, again. And as I change here at the slider, he becomes either invisible or more visible, okay? Or just ever so slightly ghost-like. Okay, so that one looks great. Let me press stop. Let me go again with the next one. Let me do color this time. So on this one, we are gonna, looks, I'm gonna set color effect to whatever that slider is. So I'm gonna change it to, variables. So setting color to whatever the color slider is set at. I need to change that to a slider. It's on 1 to 100, that's fine by me. So now as I change that, it should change color as we're doing it. That looks great. So I can change the color, I can change the size, I can make him invisible. Okay, and now the last one, the one that I really, really like, is the costume. So I'm gonna go for, when I go to looks, there is switch costume to. So I'm gonna grab that one. But instead of it being one of these set costumes, we're going to change it to the variable called costume. Okay. Now, the one thing we do have to do, just let me change that to a slider. The one thing we have to do is we have to change our slider range on this one. Let me show you why. If we go to costumes, you can see that we've got 5 costumes already loaded. You can see that they have a numerical value. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You can see that really small in the corner there. That numerical value is what we're going to use. So if I go back to, 1 to 5. So if I go back to the code, if I right click on here, change the slider range, but instead of it being 0 to 100, what I'm going to do is I'm going to change it to 1 and 5. Press OK. So now when we press go, as I change through the costumes, you should see him changing. I love the pirate one. I love the one with the cups of tea. I think it's perfect. Let me make it so he's a bit more visible. Let me make it so he's a little bit bigger. Let me make him so he's bright red maybe this time. There you go. That's a great way of being introduced to variables. I think it looks really, really cool. Now, what you can do is you can sit and you can play around with these. You can play around with this number, make it move faster. But I've finished my project now. As far as I can see, I'm happy with it. So now I'm happy. I'm going to go to the C project page. I'm going to give it a title. I'm going to call mine the Magic Octopus. Okay. I'm going to give it some instructions. Not really many instructions for this one. It's not like a game, but we'll tell people what's going to happen. So we could say this octopus is a magic octopus. Use the sliders to change how he looks. Okay. Press enter on that one. And then I'm happy with that. That's all I want to do, really. So I'm happy with it. I've done my title, I've done my instructions, so now I can share. And as soon as I press share, that's live with the world. I think that's such a great concept about Scratch. Anybody in the world can go see this project now. So I'm going to hit that share button. Okay, it's now live with the world. We can get people to see it. We can get people to remix it. We can get people to comment on it. I'd love to see some different versions of this, some remixes of it. So if you can have a go yourself, have a go. So that's that project. That one was really quick, really simple. I hope you guys can follow along with it. Yeah, thanks for watching. Cheers.